Hey guys, I just wanted to make a video talking a little bit about the worst part of Diablo 3, which is trials. Yeah, and we're going into 3 seasons now where trials really haven't had anything done to them. And in my opinion, I think a lot of people share the same idea. It just completely turns them off to the game ultimately, especially you know, long-term in-game of Diablo 3 in seasons. It's just such a huge time sink, and it's completely unenjoyable, and it's a hassle to get groups set up for all that, whether you're a solo or a group player, which doesn't even make sense in the first place. It's impossible to make Greater Rift keys for solo play high enough level to be competitive without help from very well geared people and people who know exactly what they're doing. I'm not talking like Paragon 5, 600, even in some cases 700 people. You need people who are completely decked out, 8 to 900 Paragon plus, who have perfect gear setups and specs and know exactly how everything synergizes together. You just can't pick up some randoms and make the keys you need. And I don't know, it just ultimately makes no sense because my understanding of trials is that it's supposed to be, you go into the trial, you get you progress with your gear and your spec, and you get a key that's relative to the difficulty you should be able to clear. And in some cases, early on, say 20, 30 Greater Rift, it's fairly accurate. But as you go up higher and higher, it doesn't make any sense. And like this character, for example, is completely made just for trials. I made this character pretty early on in season two, and its only purpose and its gear setup and spec are completely designed to produce Greater Rift keys that are high enough level. My Barb can never produce keys that this support Crusader could make, ever. Say keys up to like 63. I mean, not that I ever used those, but, mid 50s, which is where the Barb was at the end of season 2. That's impossible to make solo. You'll top out at 50, maybe 51 with the most absolute RNG and gear setup and everything, and that's nobody wants to do that. You should not have to fish in trials, for you know easy waves and all that stuff. And ultimately, you're never going to be able to make 54, 55, 56 plus in as a solo, and it's really fucking awful. It's a huge waste of time. I mean, this character has like 50, 60 hours played. All this character did was trials. I have like 400, a little over 400 hours played in season 2. And this character, 50, 60 hours, that's an eighth, a seventh of the amount of time I played just on this character alone. My Barb did trials as well. And that's, we're probably talking some players, 20% of their time spent in season 3 was in trials. 20%, so if someone played, I don't even know, 500 hours, they spent 100 hours in the trials. That's mind blowing. And trials are not enjoyable in any way, shape, or form. They're just work, and it's awful. And I mean, anything could be better than what we have right now. I think just putting a vendor in town, for example, I know that's a terrible way to do it, but it would get the job done better than what we have now. Just a vendor in town where you just trade these trials for whatever key you want. Like, it just makes the game really unenjoyable, honestly. Like when I think, oh, I gotta get people to make these keys, and then I have to sit there for several hours to make some keys just so I can get some attempts in on whatever Greater Rift I was trying to progress on. And it really sucks for solo players because I'm mostly a solo player, and I was basically ultimately forced to even compete as a solo player. I was forced to be a group player this season, and I did play a lot of solo, but I played way more group than I ever have in all of playing Diablo. And you cannot survive as a solo player anymore, at least as far as any bit of a competitive perspective. It's just, I don't even know. Like I said, you put a vendor in town, or just like make it easier, make the trials easier. Just anything. I mean, a new system, something. Just trials are just so bad right now. You can make it, instead of, what is it, -6 on the wave is what trial key you get in a 4-player group. Just make it 0 all the way across. You clear wave 60, you get a 60 key, whether you're solo or group. That would solve some problems. It wouldn't solve them all, of course, but it would make it easier. We shouldn't have to struggle and fight as hard as we can to make keys we need. It's just really, really frustrating. But going into season 3, I don't even know what class I'm gonna play. Probably Barb, even though I don't know. That's a whole nother topic. Of Raycors is still better than the new sets and all that stuff. But I don't look forward to trials, and it's like, I just don't think they understand the perspective of someone who is trying to be competitive, whether it being group play or solo play, that they need a lot of keys. Coming up sub Paragon 500 or so, it's not that big of a deal. Trials aren't going to be a huge time sink, but the more the higher you get, the more you want to do, the more time you got to spend in those trials. That's about it, I think. Just hope season 4, I guess, is has some kind of fix, or maybe even midway through season 3. But as of right now, it looks like they're not doing anything. And I don't know. It's just so off and ridiculous on so many levels. So maybe somehow they'll get the point, because I don't know. I know people who straight up quit the game because they don't want to do trials anymore. It's like, just the worst part about Diablo 3, honestly. That's it. That's all I really got to say. So thanks for watching, and